Greetings and welcome to yet a new adventure, although we're going, what, 20 years into the past? Something like that? For a game that has been sat in my inventory for all that time, and, well, you can clearly tell what it is from the title. We're going to Skyrim, my first ever real Oblivion Morrowind type game. I have played Fallout 3, I played Fallout New Vegas, I haven't done 1 or 2, and I haven't done 4, and I have played this in the past for no longer than 5 minutes about 8 times total. And the reason is, if I'm not streaming something, and I'm at home, and I'm just playing a game for fun, especially over the last 10 years, where I was righteously YouTubing the hell out of my entire day. So I'm like, oh, I want to play a game for an hour, and the intro is like 10 minutes. I haven't got time for this. Like, I just don't have time to sink into this. And then you hear it's going to be like 400 hours or whatever. And I'm like, okay, I don't have time for this, and just turn it off. And that's what I did with Skyrim, like I say, about 8 times. As soon as the cart got going, and there's these enormous pauses, I'm like, I can't do it. But I've always wanted to play it. And it felt to me like, if I'm going to enjoy this, I could probably enjoy it with the stream, and that way, like, these pauses, I have a chat interaction and things like that. So that's why I decided on this. It was between 2 games what our next big project will be. I'm not going to reveal what the other one was, but I was like, okay, it's time for Skyrim. And I told the guys before I went to Greece, is like, okay, we're going to come back and we're going to do Skyrim. And the whole team was so excited, because I think between Bex and Chris, they pointed out that beyond MMOs, this is the game they've had the most amount of hours in. Nupss is not in the same position. In fact, I saw a comment in our team Discord after the first hour. He's like, you guys really played this for like thousands of hours? I'm like, oh yeah. Oh, we did. We did. And we've already got bets on what's going to happen. Let's cover some of the initial things. Modding. I want to talk about modding. This was a huge discussion that was happening while I was away, leading up to Skyrim. The decision was made to play with no mods to get started, and then if we felt it necessary, or if I bumped into things, we could add some mods in, mainly for quality of life, but there's a billion mods for this game that may make their appearance later. I'm not against it by any means, but I wanted the vanilla experience at least to wet my whistle as to what the game was going to offer for me. So we've already got a couple of mods in mind on our day 2. One is a gore mod. They have these like Fallout VAT style cutscenes, but and I'm obviously smorking, as you can probably guess. My character is called Clark the Orc. Clark the Orc is smorking his way with big giant 2-handed weapons, and they have these VATS cutscenes. I was like, I want some gore in here. That would be really nice. And some simple things, like, for whatever reason, this game does not constrain your mouse activity to the game. And so, for somebody who has, like, notifications and stream chats and things like that open, if I scroll in-game, it moves all my windows, and it's infuriating, because I have to, like, Alt-Tab and correct them again, and I've had to come up with, like, key bindings to get around it, so we're going to install a mod to fix that. And I think somebody has... the biggest push I saw after day 1 was something called SkyUI, because God, oh my God... I know it was 2011. I think that was the date that came out for when the game released. One of the worst UIs I've ever seen in my life. You can't even say, oh, it was a long time ago, right? No, it's just terrible. It's awful in every single way. Selling things baffled me for a good 10 seconds. I was like, what is going on here? Because it's like, you can sell things here and use the left column to sell your stuff. And I'm like, but there's nothing here to sell anything. It's so bizarre. And it turns out it's the left column. If you scroll all the way down, they've just put it in this weird list of the guy and you. And you're like, oh, it's over there. But why? Because there's 50% of the screen real estate is empty. So why have you done it this way? There's games that have come out in like the 80s that have a better UI system for sorting these things out. And also another thing, I didn't realize this until after stream, and I'm going to bring it up when I start today. I can't find how you quit the game. I'm not joking. I was like, okay, so I press escape. There's no option that I can see there for quitting the game. So I was like, maybe it's in-game? So I like opened my like inventory and stuff. I was like, no, there's nothing here. I went through it for about 4 minutes. I'm like, I can't, I alt F4'd. I was like, I cannot figure out how I close this game. It's just so bizarre. These options are missing. Either way, you cannot quit this game. System? All right, sure. Where? There it is! Good job! Missing. Either way, let's talk about Skyrim, my first genuine experience with the game. Firstly, I had to buy it for the 3rd time. Some of you are going to go mad now because you're like, dude, you can get all this stuff for free. That's fine. I'm streaming it. I'm obviously in return earning money back for it. We're going to have a good time with it, I think. Oh, I know we are, actually. It's TLDR, I'm having a blast with the game for a multitude of reasons. But I have 2 versions of Skyrim as of yesterday morning when I started Skyrim. I had the original Skyrim that I got all the way back in probably a Steam sale. Then I had the Skyrim Special Edition. I don't know how I got that one. Maybe it was bundled into something because I'd never played it, so I didn't buy it again. But I had the Skyrim Special Edition. Maybe it was a free update or something. I don't know. And then as soon as I booted the game was like, well, you kind of need to install the Anniversary Edition. I was like, so I need the base game, the Special Edition, and the Anniversary Edition in order to make this happy. And one of the reasons was it would not boot in the resolution of my game. It would only lock it to 1920 by 1080. I'm playing on a 4K display, so I was like, well, that's not going to work for streaming. And then some people were like, yeah, they improved the resolutions in the Anniversary Edition. I'm like, oh, okay. And then I did that, and it still didn't work. It put it into, like, 4K, but, like, 1/4 of the screen. So I'm like, what is going on here? I had to go back out after buying the Anniversary Edition, which was over £16, and then it worked. And I was like, well, it's working. I'm fine. And people were like, no, you can get all this with mods. And mod. Everything you want is a mod. And I'm like, I'm sure it is. Like, I get it. This thing has been modded to death. And I remember Bethesda tried to, like, charge people for mods at one point because there was so many for the game. So I was like, it's fine. It's whatever. I have so we're playing the Anniversary Edition. All right, that's clear. So the game got started, and I finally made it through the cart section of the game, which is laboriously slow. And it also, you know what? I'm going to point this out now because it might change over the course of playing this game. Bethesda is not good at storytelling. And I know people are going to be mad about this now, but I actually have the same issue with, like, BioWare with Mass Effect. And it's a complaint I've had probably for the last 20 years of my life. And I think it's real. They bombard you with so much information that you can't take it in a reasonable way. There must be something like 20 to 30 names mentioned in the cart section to the first town, Helmig or whatever it's called. And you can't possibly, it's like the Jarl of blah, blah, blah was doing this and this and this. And there's almost a reliance on that you've probably played Morrowind and you've probably played Oblivion and you have some concept of what's going on in the Elder Scrolls universe. But it's not, it's so cumbersome, especially for, like, if Skyrim is your first game, to, like, try and drink this information in. I bring up BioWare because Mass Effect has the same problem too, is that, I'm pretty sure it's BioWare. I'm second guessing myself now. But the first Mass Effect game, you run around the Citadel for, like, an hour just learning about all these different aliens. Instead of it being, like, a good introduction to them, you're just like, okay, now you need to read an encyclopedia and gather what's going on. And it's a very laborious, non-fun way of doing things. At least for me, it's like, okay, now we have to do a test on what's going on. And this game was the same. And I remember pointing out in the first 10 minutes that I have no idea what's happening. I have no clue what the hell is going on. All these Nords and these elves, and this is happening, and that is happening, and then a dragon shows up. So we did the character creation, which was relatively simple. I was happy with that. I just chose one of the preset orcs and just changed its skin slightly to be more green, because Clark the orc, I just picked a character that looked like it would beat people to death. For the first time in a long time, though, I actually thought the male characters looked better than the females. Usually, I always play a female. I try and recreate my wife in some way. I don't think she'd appreciate being an orc. I'd have to ask her. That'd be a roleplay thing for the bedroom, I assume. She probably wouldn't know the name Clark either. But either Clark the orc was created, and off we went on our merry way. Now, the jank. Oh, I actually love it. I do. This game is so janky. Like, it's almost unforgivably bad, but not quite. Be it characters warping all over the place in the background, or just giving you the most bizarre dialogue that makes no sense whatsoever. I met a camp. I don't know if Bex will be able to find the clip, but it was the Stormcloak camp as I was trying to make my way to the Grey Mountain, the Greybeards. And they were like, we hate you. You're the worst. Because apparently, I got a choice as to whether to work with the Imperials or the Stormcloaks. That choice never seemed to appear to me in any way. Like, I only found out that I had made this choice because my chat told me. They were like, well, you've sided with the Imperials. I'm like, did I? why? I just followed along with the guy who was guiding me out of this dragon attack. They're like, yeah, you've done that. I was like, when did I do that? Bizarre. And these guys were like, we hate you, we're horrible. But yeah, please come back later. I'm looking forward to see what is happening here? Why are these guys? They like both hate me, but they're all like, oh, okay, yeah, I'll catch you later, dude. Yeah, you be good, but also you suck. And I'm like, wow, is this like Shadowlands writing? This feels like Maldraxxus all over again. It's like, oh, thank you for opening the door for the Primus. We so appreciate. You're not coming in though, like absolutely not. You're the worst. I'm like, but thank you so much for like establishing our entire colony. But also like we hate you to death, and you can never step foot in here again. But thank you for like allowing us to have this. It's all that going on at the same time. Tons of chank, but I quite enjoyed it. It was fun. It was comedic, and I was like, this makes it great for the streams. Have these moments. There was so many like, what is going on? Type issues. So how was I going to play this game? Well, obviously for me, sticking to the main story quest, we'll call that MSQ for now. Going forward, is I see something, I want to check it out. I am very much in video games with exploration. I am, ooh, there's a squirrel. Ooh, there's like Homer Simpson, right? I'm very much like that. And they showed me a ruins up on a hill. And they were like, there's a dangerous ruin up there. But we're going to continue down to this town over here. I'm like, yeah. And I have to say, this is when I think the game grabbed me, was this dungeon. Very clever pacing. Very clever. Good job, Bethesda. Because this dungeon was large and elaborate. It had puzzles. It had interesting enemies. It was beautiful. Like, for its time, like, absolutely gorgeous. The graphics don't bother me at all. And I was like, this is really good. Like, really, really good. I was like, okay, if the game's... This is the game. This is a game. This is a fun game. And I was having a lot of fun with it. And then I got introduced to a couple of the mini side stories, like making sort of moral decisions between somebody who was trying to break up a relationship. This nasty elf was writing bad poetry, and we could choose. Do we want to tell her? Or do we want to tell the other guy? Or do we want to get in the way of this sort of like lover's tryst that's going on? I was like, oh, this is fun. This is cool. We're getting some choices. I am definitely one of the people that has been ultimately ruined by The Witcher 3, specifically the Wild Hunt, because nearly every side quest there was very involved and had some sort of like real gray area that you had to sort of muddle through, that you could make the wrong or right choice, or sometimes there was no right choice. And very, very, in fact, none, I would say, RPGs of this level have actually been able to make that situation happen for me where it's side content. But I haven't done a lot of the side content yet. So I'll bear that in mind. Because the future side content that I did do this day, like breaking up a ritual, was like, okay, there's a weird ritual happening in the mountains. They're summoning Cthulhu, and you have to go and stop it. And I'm like, ooh, this is cool. They're summoning a mega demon or something, right? This is going to be really spooky. No, they just stuck like a ritual platform out in the hills, and some zombies were there, and you kill them, and it's like, oh, I tried to summon the thing, and it was bad. And I'm like, oh, okay, fair enough. But I'm going to try a bunch more side content to see how it goes. But the MSQ is interesting. Let's talk about that. I should mention before we get to that, the combat is terrible, but I'm okay with it. The combat is very, very terrible. And I'm fine with it because it's, again, the jankiness is kind of charming and fun. I've killed 3 dragons of this point where they were doing funny things like they didn't have room to land, so they just kind of circled around. It's more a case of you are a stat stick. You could do a little bit of like moving around. The game could have really used a dodge roll. I think there's a mod for that. In fact, let's just put it in. Let's put a note here. Anything I suggest, there's probably a mod for it. Okay. But I'm talking about the base game as it is. And yeah, so I was fighting some giants that were really tough. They could one-hit me, but their hitboxes were very questionable, to say the least. Yeah, I killed them eventually via some reloads, but yeah, the combat's not good in any way. It's more a case of like, this thing does fire damage. Use a fire resist potion. You're like, oh, okay. And now I can just whack away. And you can line of sight a little bit and heal and all that. So that was kind of fun. But the story itself, I don't really get what's happening or why I should care. I am a prisoner for some reason. I'm not sure why that is. Maybe I don't think I was a rebel. And now I haven't aligned myself with anyone in particular. I don't think, although I made this choice at the beginning, but I think I can go off the beaten track with that in a very Fallout style. So I haven't, so far everybody seems like a turd. So I haven't dealt with that yet. But my mission was, we killed a dragon that was attacking Whiterun. And then I absorbed the dragon's power, and then they were like, you're the Dragonborn, or the Dragonbald, as my chat dubbed me. The Dragonbald rises. And from there, it was like, this is your thing now. You're the Dragon Man. And then some old grey men were whispering at me from the mountains, and I had to go and see them. And I'm like, okay, what does that really mean then? It's like the Dragonborn. Okay, I can try and summarize this. You have dragon's blood, which means you're able to absorb the power of dragons in order to shout. And the shout is one of the main dragon powers, not breathing fire, the fact that they can shout. And shouts give you special abilities. I had no idea this game had abilities like this. I knew it had like fireballs and things like that, and you could be a wizard. But the fact that you have like turbo dash, and you can do this disrupting shout, which is nice for casters and things like that. That was pretty cool. I had no idea we could do stuff in this sort of like Lord of the Rings, Shadow of Mordor style back in the day. I thought that's really fun. So I started having a lot more fun with the combat at that point. Then I went and saw the Greybeards, who were trying to explain it to me. And I'm like, so I guess I want to be the Dragon Man? I'm not sure why. The dragons are returning, so I should kill all the dragons, who seem to be like randomly turning up and going around the place. So that should be something I want to do. I actually think the game is more like, just go on an adventure. Don't overthink it. You're the Dragon Man. You're the Dragon Man in this world. Go and be the Dragon Man and solve crises and be a hero of the world. And I'm okay with that. I'm totally okay with that. I want to keep up with the story, but again, the Jarls and the Imperials and all this, like the political climate, I don't really care. I'm just a Dragon Man. If you annoy me, I'm going to kill you. That's generally the situation. I'm not being a murder hobo, though, which is pretty good. One of the best storylines I've actually done so far was a guy I bumped into in a tower, because a lot of the quests are more breadcrumby to just like, hey, there's a ton of areas over here, so I'm going to give you this quest, like the ritual quest, but there's like 2 towers and a cave up there, and you'll get to do all this content. I'm like, that's great. That's just great. Just breadcrumb me around to go and go, ooh, what's this? Ooh, what's that? So I was in this tower, and I found a guy who's like, I snuck in. My wife came here like months ago, and they're imprisoning her somewhere, but I'm too feeble to get past all the rest of the guards. Can you please help me? And then she turned out to actually be the leader of the rebels. She like hates him. She left him. She came here. She found this ragtag bunch of bandits, and now she leads them and got them organized, and now they're making money. But it occurred to me, it's like, I've just murdered like 30 bandits to get to you. I'm not going to let you like live for some reason. You know, like video games do that weird thing where you've got this main villain, and then you get there after butchering like hundreds of people. You literally stood on the skulls of their families, and you're like, and I'm going to be the bigger person and let you live. Like, no, dude. Like the cost of human life to get here must be resolved, right? It must be resolved. So I killed her, and then I was, my murder hobo instincts kicked in. I was like, I should probably kill the husband too. Just for being such a complete puss, essentially. But then I was like, I really don't have a justifiable reason to kill him. And I was debating this moral quandary all the way back to show him his dead wife's wedding ring. And explain to him, like, she left you, dude. Like, that was my thought process of what like dialogue would be. Is like, okay, she left you. She became leader of the rebels. She wants nothing to do with you. You should go home. And I was all the way there. I was wrestling with ideas. I should probably just kill him. He's going to be miserable for the rest of his life, blah, blah, blah. I'm doing him a mercy, really. And I stood there in front of him. And I'm like, no, I'm not going to kill him. I made the choice. Well, I'm not going to kill him. I haven't really got a good reason to do it. And so my dialogue choice was, your wife's dead. I murdered her. That was it. And then he's like, what? And then he goes to kill me. I'm like, well, that made my life easy. So that's good. So I killed him. And I'm like, well, resolved, baby. That's awesome. All fixed and done. So if we get a few more stories like that, I'll be happy. But I get most of them are probably breadcrumbs outside of the main story. So I'm going to try and engage more with the main story. I should probably bring up the horse here before the comments section points out that I didn't bring up the horse. I got a horse. I spent 1,000 gold on the horse. And it was slower than walking. It really annoyed me. Like, a lot. It really irritated me. I was using... And you had to remember where you parked it. It doesn't pop up on your, like, proximity map at the top. It's like, you know, your waypoint finder. It doesn't pop up on there. So I kept having to remember where it was. And then I had to go and find it. And then NPCs that you escort either go too slow for you to too slow for you to walk with it, and it was just so irritating. I was like, I hate this horse. And I tried to use it for about an hour. I was like, I'm pretty sure walking is faster than this. Walk, sprint, and then later on I would get the dash as well. I was like, forget this horse. I'm annoyed by this horse. It doesn't do what I would do. So I killed the horse to, you know, get some resources back from it for the 1,000 gold I'd spent. And people got very upset about that. Clark the Orc's horse is dead. Yeah. I really don't regret it. I hate that horse. The horse was garbage. And maybe it was cathartic because I don't like my family involves horses, and I don't like that. They smell. So yeah, it was cathartic in some way. Maybe I was projecting. I don't know. But either way, the horse is dead. So I might end up buying another horse. I assume 1,000 gold is not a lot. In fact, I'm already at like 5k because I want to buy a house in Whiterun just to store all the crap. I have got assistants, which is nice. I have Lydia. I had another lady called Boofburger, I think she was called. But the game is so jank that doing a quest that involved me sparring with someone for a team called the Companions actually aggroed her to aggro every guard and caused this entire disgrace. And ultimately she ended up fighting. Oh no, that's not what happened. Okay, that did happen. That was bad. So having a companion on those kind of quests is a bad idea because you get into combat and they're just programmed to attack anything that's attacking you and set a whole thing off. But there was some guys who turned up in Whiterun saying, we're looking for the Red Lady. And we're like, why? And they're getting kicked out by the guards, right? The guards are like, you guys are not allowed in here because you're like red guys. And red guys aren't welcome in Whiterun. And I'm like, okay. So as I was leaving, I shouted at him. That caused everybody in Whiterun to be mad at me, including Beefburger. And so I ended up in jail. I don't understand why. They were being kicked out anyway. And she's my ally. So what's she mad about? I don't know. I didn't hit any guards, I don't think. But either way, yeah, they were peeved. And I had to run away and fix that. Thankfully, the game didn't brick. Because we are playing Live With Our Consequences. I say that Live With Our Consequences is if it happens, it happens. But we did make one judgment to bend that rule. It's always a flexible rule, regardless. But we made one call. Is Lydia. I love Lydia. Lydia's great. She's awesome. And she's also a mule. I can throw stuff on her to carry for me. That's great. Really liked Lydia. She was cool. She did a lot of good stuff for me and allowed me to have some fun. In the middle of a zombie wave attack, there's about 8 zombies. I'm swinging wildly, right? I've got this giant 2-handed smarky mace. She took one on the noggin and died. And that was it. She was just full dead. And thankfully, my chat universally agreed, like, this is not okay. Like, besides the obvious people who are always going to say, you know, you deal with your consequences, but, like, this is BS from start to finish. This is BS. So we did reload there, just letting you know. But so far, I'm having a blast with this. I hope it continues on. I want to see, my next goal is to do a little bit of side stuff, see what goes on with that. And then I think most of it is breadcrumbing me to follow my way around the world because my next main story quests are like so far away, really far away. So we'll see how that goes. But welcome to Skyrim, at least for me, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye, guys.